You've been told your mind is your own, that truth is what you discover for yourself. But that's a lie so seductive you barely notice it, even as it cages you. Here's the real diagnosis. Collective stupidity isn't just a lack of intelligence, it's the victory of obedience over authenticity. The crowd doesn't just deaden thought, it manufactures stupidity by design, and your life is its raw material. Step back to the late 1800s. Nietzsche writes, surrounded by Europe's chaos, church bells fading into factory sirens, the certainties of religion dissolving into mechanized anonymous life. The psychological crisis wasn't why people believed, it was why they needed to follow. Herd mentality isn't simply about blending in. Nietzsche in Beyond Good and Evil and the Gay Science exposes it as a psychic anesthetic. It numbs the pain of doubt by replacing questions with consensus. Ask yourself if everyone is thinking together. Is anyone really thinking at all? Herd mentality in Nietzsche's terms is the program running silently in the background of your mind. You relinquish personal judgment, opting for the safety and laziness of mass opinion. That comfort isn't accidental. It is evolutionally honed, industrially amplified. The very mechanisms that were supposed to set you free, morality, science, even your sense of what's rational, are often just scaffolding propping up the herd, not ladders to truth. You might object, isn't herd mentality just another name for peer pressure or going with the flow? That's the fool's version. Nietzsche's insight is crueler. Your deepest certainties, from morality to mathematics, are often just mass agreements, weaponized to keep the organism of society intact. Slave morality, which once secured social order, metastasizes in the modern era. The price, your intellect becomes a hostage to conformity. Fast forward to today, and it's no longer the quiet pressure of the village or the church. Algorithmic echo chambers automate the process. Nietzsche began diagnosing a century ago. Social media trends aren't spontaneous. They're the digital chorus to Nietzsche's original village mob, a coordinated swarm, blind but self-assured, hungry for the annihilation of dissent. You aren't just aware of the herd, you might already be fused to it. The real anxiety isn't about being wrong, it's about being alone, cut off from the reassurance of agreement. Recall our earlier episode on slave morality, the moment when moral codes became comfort blankets, tools for cohesion, rather than searchlights for truth. Today's crisis is sharper. Is your intelligence really yours, or does the herd now think through you? Get ready to confront how deeply the psychic machinery has rewritten your very concept of thinking, and why your cleverness might serve your own undoing. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Nietzsche hurls in your direction what you call your values, the beliefs you tweet, the causes you signal boost, even your sense of moral outrage. Most of these aren't your own. They are the sediment of a much older psychological machinery, inherited, internalized, and running silently in the background of your decisions. You started with the comforting herd, but you ended up with slave morality wired deep into your psyche. You want to think you're unique, but the algorithms disagree. They know exactly which outrage will hook you, which consensus will soothe you, and which identities will let you feel safe in the crowd. Our digital virtues are just old slave morals, coded for retweets and likes. Does that sting? It should. These digital echo chambers, these viral cycles of shaming and performative confession, they aren't bugs. They are the evolutionary endpoint of what Nietzsche diagnosed in the late 1800s, a mass psychology that rewards not courage or excellence, but docility, envy, and resentment. What is slave morality, really? It's not just being submissive or passive. It's the transformation of weakness, fear, and impotence, qualities no one once dared admit, into the highest social virtues. Slave morality is a viral meme infecting the very language you use for praise or blame. It teaches you, from 1,000 digital sermons a day, that it's better to be a victim than bold, safer to shame than question, and nobler to signal your pain than to display your strength. This isn't some outdated artifact of religious asceticism. It's the subtext under every call-out post, every cancel culture pile-on, every trending mob rage. You are living the genealogy Nietzsche described, except now it's automated, gamified, and weaponized for maximum participation. Here's the critical misreading. You're taught that Nietzsche wanted you to be an alpha, to dominate, to crush the crowd with your individuality. Wrong. His target was much deeper. Systems that incentivize mediocrity and punish the threat of real difference, regardless of who happens to be on top. When victimhood is capital, who dares to be responsible? Each new platform, each new viral cycle, ramps up the machinery, a digital panopticon in which self-censorship becomes common sense and self-limitation becomes a badge of honor. So every time you self-edit, join undemanding causes, or attack the unfashionable, you add your voice to the murmur of the herd, except now the herd is invisible and everywhere, and the cost of dissent isn't exile, but erasure. Now you have to ask, is it even possible to break free from the logic of this swarm? Or are you doomed to play the same ritual, just with new hashtags? Because if you can't see where your inner script ends and the collective programming begins, then what you call thinking for yourself is just compliance running on autopilot. You wake up entombed in a world of consensus. Every headline, every trending hashtag, every opinion so smoothly aligned, so shockingly predictable, that it barely registers as separate from your own thinking. But what if the real threat isn't misinformation or ignorance? What if the greatest danger is something far more insidious? Your instinct to belong, your fear of standing alone, your psychological surrender to collective stupidity. This is not some problem out there for lesser minds. No, this is the default operating mode for anyone shaped by the world you inhabit. The roots of this go back far further than smartphones or algorithms. Picture the Europe of the 1880s. The cathedrals that once anchored reality are hollowing out. Science thunders its triumphs, yet yields only new anxieties. The wild certainties that made heroes and heretics possible are dissolving under the acid rain of modernity. Friedrich Nietzsche writes from within this crucible, watching the rise of a distinctly modern pathology, the herd. To Nietzsche, the question isn't just why you believe, but why you follow. Even in societies that prize individuality, what passes for originality is often just rebellion prepackaged, dissent on a leash. Nietzsche called this the age of the herd, a psychological regime where conformity masquerades as virtue, mediocrity cloaks itself as morality, and comfort smothers any urge to challenge the prevailing pulse of the crowd. Do you feel immune? You're not. The very tools you use to navigate controversy, fact checks, group chats, retweets, trends, are the machinery of the herd. This isn't history. This is the psychological operating system you're running right now. Slave morality isn't merely a relic of ancient resentment. It's hardwired into your patterns of shame, your reflex to seek validation, your willingness to mute inconvenient doubts for the sake of peace. The algorithmic herds of social media are just the latest upgrade to an ancient code, the worship of safety over truth, and the suspicion of anyone who dares to step out of line. You are not just surrounded by the herd, you participate every time you prefer belonging over authenticity. If that makes you defensive, good, you should be uncomfortable. Because the evidence of collective stupidity isn't an accusation against your intelligence, it's a challenge to your integrity. Ask yourself, how many of your convictions would survive if you had to defend them alone? Or do you cling to belonging, knowing, on some level, that you kneel before the comfort of consensus? Nietzsche saw your world coming. Now the only question is whether you will recognize your own complicity.